Botany Bay. Botany Bay. Oh no.
I want to show this 3D printed Botany Bay. This was printed up by me. This is a file that I found online. This is the Botany Bay from Star Trek, the original series, episode called Space Seed. This is Khan's ship, for those of you that don't know. Those of you that do know, then please bear with me. This is almost half studio scale. There are other model kits out there of this, resin kits, which are half studio scale, which is just about an inch longer than what I have here. And the prices they start at $200 and up. And you still had to pay shipping and everything. Now, the advantages of being able to print this up myself, yes, it does take a little time. Like this piece here took over 9 hours to print. This piece here took over 19 hours. It was supposed to take 21. It had it slotted for 21 hours, actually 20 hours and like 49 minutes, I think, for this, but it actually printed up in just a shade under 19 hours. And then I printed the other 3 pieces, and these pieces were the second file. First file, these pieces, and this was second file, and that was the third and the last. And I forget how long these all took. I think those took around 8 hours to print. But even at that, I still saved myself, from paying out the money for a $200 model. Like I say, it did take a little time, a little bit of money for the electricity, and then a little bit of money for the filament, which is no big deal. As far as time-wise, you set something up to print, and you can just keep a check on it. I like to keep a check on mine because I've had some incidences as far as misprint, the filament getting bound up and misprinting. But you can set something up to print and go on about your business. Like me, I got a million things here in the shop that I can keep my attention going. It's not like I'm sitting chomping at the bit waiting for that piece to get done or waiting for that piece to get done. So it's not an inconvenience. But like I say, the half studio scale models are resin kits, and the prices are up there. This is the plaque that I plan on putting it on. I'm going to put a rod dead center of it, and then up in the bottom of the cargo pod here. I haven't done that at this time. This has been printed up for a couple of days now, and I've been busy doing other things. It will be more level. You can see it's leveled up. The rod that I have in it is not the exact size I need. It actually is a little small, so it's allowing it to lean down, so it gives the optical illusion of being crooked. But I'm going to take all these parts down, and I'm going to show you each one of the parts. There are imperfections in them because I am still very green, new at this 3D printing stuff. I'm learning with each print that I do, and I will show you the places that I messed up, and I'll kind of briefly go over how I know how to fix those spots, and we'll go from there. So hang on, and let me get these parts down. Okay, like I said earlier, I printed all this up in 3 sessions. The forward section was the first file and first session. The small parts and these last 3 parts was in the second session. And then that was in the third, because I knew that was going to take a long time to print. So we'll go over the first section here. the detail on this is very, very good. I will be adding a little bit of detail throughout the ship. There is a lot of indiscrepancies. I am not going to correct all the things that are wrong, but I will just add a few bits and pieces here and there to make it a little more accurate. I love doing that. This printed out be just like this. So I'll show you the very first discrepancy. You see how ugly these lines look? This outer part printed up first, and then it actually raised up and started printing the next. Well, there should have been a support in here to hold this, and I did not have a support in it, so it did not come as clean or print as clean as it should have. But I'm not worried about this part because this will be butted up against that part. Okay, so that's no issue. On the back side here, I should have, because it printed, like I say, printed just like this. Anything that has an overhang or comes straight out, it's got to come up. See how this piece comes up from the bottom and then comes out and down at an angle. Well, I put a support on the end, but I should have supported the entire deal. And by not doing that, and I have already shaved some of it off, it made it look worse than this. And I've shaved it off, and what I'm going to do there is just put a piece of plastic and clean it up. There is some bumps right here, and it's only on 2 panels on this piece, and they are opposite of each other. So you got them here. That's clean. That's clean. But then here, and it, like I say, it is the direct opposite of the other part. That'll be easy to take care of. Sanding stick, knock all that down. And I do intend on putting a skim coat of red putty on here. I'm not so worried about getting rid of all the striations, but I do want to bring those down a bit. And that will be done with a little bit of spot putty for the heavier spots, and then the filler primer. That's just garbage on there. And there's that piece. This piece here, like I say, this was the final piece in this print, and I learned some stuff on the others to correct for this one. Now, you can see how this has all the lines in it. This is actually the 3D print lines. It's not supposed to be in the actual model, because if you'll notice, it prints upward. Now, I could have went in and made some adjustments to smooth all this out, but I really like the way that texture looks. Is it accurate? No, it's not by any means, but I still like it. It's my model, so I like it and I can live with it. Now, on the back side here, and I must have laid it down in something, there was a support here. This one was a little bit more difficult to get out because it was only like a couple lines deep on this, but it's not flat with this part here. This was a part that printed first, and then it kind of put in a support, and then it printed this piece, because this piece does not sit flat when it was printing, does not sit exactly flat. So I put a little support in there. That was a little difficult to get out, but I got it out. I still got a little bit of cleanup to do. Now, each one of these spots here had supports in, and I still got to go back in and clean up some. Those I got those supports out, and I had to fix a little spot here that I guess it was trying to put a support in because it was so wide. There was a piece in here that just popped right out, so I guess that was a support, which I got to go in and do a little cleanup there. Now, here is my screw up. This line that goes across here. My filament got in a bind, and so the printer was still printing, but it was starving for filament, and it was not putting down much, if anything at all, in this part. By the time I had caught it, this line was there. There was nothing I could do about this. So all I could do is hope that when it continued printing, that it adhered the rest of it, because it still had to go from here to here. And like I say, this is a 19 and a half hour print is what this is. Actually 19 hours and almost 45 minutes of print. But a little putty in that, and that'll take care of that. It's getting skim coated with putty anyway, and you see here's a little bump issue. I don't know if that's my printer or if it's the file, don't know. But it would have been, if there was another pie section here on this part, then there would have been bumps on this one as well. Okay, now go to the next piece. Show you real quick. There's only bumps right here, bumps on the one side. There's no bumps on any other part of this. This is not going to take much cleanup at all, just a little bit, like I say, skim coat it with putty, just to help with the striations, or I may be able to get by with just shooting some filler primer on it. Not worried about getting rid of the striations, just kind of, like I say, just kind of want to knock them back. Now this part, this is the forward thruster section. This is incorrect. You know, these parts on here are not accurate. I'm not going to worry about it. There's some detail parts that go in here that I will more than likely add. I'll be adding a little bit of detail to the entire deal, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with this section here other than just a little putty. And I apologize if I say just a little putty, just a little too much. Now this part here, this is the main back of the engine where the thruster assembly goes. And the thruster assembly is totally inaccurate, but I can live with it to an extent. I may scratch build some parts and put on there and try to accurize this a little bit better. I'm not a big stickler on screen accuracy. I think screen accuracy is overrated. You can become a fanatic real quick by trying to make something look exactly like the version you've seen on the movie or on TV. You know, look at it to get it to the point that you can live with it and that you like it, and be done with it. But this, all I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down a piece of tape, and my camera will focus on this. There you go. I knew you were there. I knew you loved me. And I'm going to draw a line on the inside of this ridge on the tape, and then lay the tape down, cut it out in plastic, cover that with plastic. That gets me back to square one, all nice and pretty. And this hole doesn't need to be on the backside anyway. Just needed a hole here for the rod to go in. It's not supposed to protrude all the way out. These are indents for the wing assemblies. Excuse me. You got one on each side, and these are the wing assembly itself. Come on. And it goes in there like that. Locks in nice and tight. No issues whatsoever. And so I will show you the thruster assembly here real quick. A little bit of cleanup, not much of anything. Like I said, I'm going to look. I may forego this piece and put my own detail on there. And these are the wing assemblies. You can see all the lines in there, a little skim coat of putty, and you're good to go. And then the last parts up are the antenna array. I forget what the exact name of them are. And I'm trying to get, you can see the lines there on this piece, which I'm actually going to make those work for me. I'm going to go in with a little bit of stock styrene and make a little frame around that, and so that will become the antenna mesh. So backside, all I'm going to do is give it a quick sand, maybe a little bit of putty, but it needs to be sanded definitely. Primed, painted, ready to go. And that's it. A total of 10 pieces. Took several hours to print, yes, but it was well worth it. I'd much rather do it this way. I get the satisfaction of creating this myself, other than dishing out cash for someone else's work and lining their pockets when I can use the money, that I gave them for this model I can use that money for something else. I haven't taken the time to put stuff away, like my backdrop and Cardassian phaser is still there on the desk. But what I've been doing is just going through and skim coating the Botany Bay, trying to stay away from the detail. I got a little bit of putty in there, but just I'm not looking to get rid of the striations, but I'm just knocking them back some. This will probably be the only coat of putty that will be put on it. Got putty on every part. Yeah, it looks ugly as hell right now, but it'll look better. And I didn't put any putty on this end because this is what butts up against this, and there's a, I can see it, there's a line there that's supposed to go in a notch there, so I'm not worried about that. I got the bumps off of it. Actually, I sanded off the bumps off of all of it, so. And I'm not gonna put any putty in the middle of this. Yeah, just give it a quick skim coat, and when it all sets up, I'll sand it down. I've gone around, that's all I've got left to skim coat. I'm not doing anything to the back or the front. I'm just going to use filler primer on the back and sand that. It'll still have some striations, but it give it a little bit of detail and interest. I've only got these done on one side, so that's where I'm standing, or where I stand right now. I got a massive headache today. This is Sunday, Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all you guys out there. But yeah, the main thing was that I'm gonna ease back around again, and I have not swept my floor. Boy, Crompton, if you're watching, remember I told you my B36. That's it inside that box. Toss that down there. Yeah, my main goal is to get all this cleared off and get my printer down here. And what it's doing, what it's doing is it's working on landing gear at the moment, printing up landing gear for the big Falcon. All right, well, here's where the Botany Bay is at the moment. We've got the base is complete. I'm going to paint the rod black. I haven't gotten I'm going to put a wooden dowel in there, and I'm not going to use my acrylic rod, so I haven't cut it. It's still a little long. I went in and I made the docking clamps for the cargo pods, and on the back here I just went with the detail that I had. Everything looks pretty good as far as detail wise, but all the striations are pretty much taken care of, the ones that I wanted to do. Here is the color that I'm using, which is nutmeg. This is going to be just the base coat. Then I'm going to go in with gray and brown and black. This is what it looks like, the nutmeg after it's shot on there. So, but yeah, it's all ready for paint. I'm going to, before I paint it though, I want to get my rod, my wooden dowel, and get all these sections glued together. And then I'm going to go in each one of the joints that if it needs it, then I'm going to, or if it needs it, I will use tulip to do away with the joints. So, next up, it'll be all painted. So the first coat, the base coat will be painted on it anyway. So, okay, first off, I want to apologize for the noise. I've got my fan going over in the corner there, my AC going, and I got a fan going on the other side. It is quite hot here. Here is the base coat on the Botany Bay. Yeah, it's a little shiny. It's still tacky. I'm not going to touch it. I'll just touch it a little bit. Make sure it clears my Enterprise sitting there. I got a little bit of ugliness going on here, which a little sanding after paint sets up, a little sanding to take care of that. Another thing I don't like about Rust-Oleum paints, especially the 2X stuff, I said it goes on thick, was number one. Number two is it takes forever for this crap to dry, so I'm gonna give this a couple of days and Like I said, I don't want to handle it too much. It is really, really taggy. But yeah, that's the base coat. Just give you kind of an overall look. All the shininess will be knocked down. You can see took care of the seam there, the seam here, the seam there, and the gap and seam that were there. And go over here and I'll show you what I use. Should have had it out. This is what I use. I use it's Tulip Slick. It's a thick fabric paint, acrylic fabric paint. A lot of the people use this to actually write on clothes, and I'm drawing left-handed. I'm not left-handed. I can't even pick my nose left-handed. But I use mainly white and black. You know, it don't matter what color you're going to use because you're going to prime over it anyway. I am anyway. But I hit it with the white. It seems like every time I get on camera I'm out of breath. But explain the base, and like I say, got the base coat on. I got the rod is taped up right now. Just give you a look underneath there. So yeah, this is Wednesday. If I can get the glare off of it, Wednesday the 24th. I'm going to give us a couple of days to dry up, and then I'm going to attack it with the with gray, brown, black, and then some pastels to weather everything up. So probably the next time you see this, it will be done. Now, like I say, here are I can actually touch these. These are the radar or the antenna arrays that I framed out, and then those have been painted for several days. So, but that's it. All right, well, I just want to show this. This is the final on the Botany Bay. Got it all finished up, and I'm using a different camera. Actually using my wife's Galaxy S10, because it takes a whole lot better video and does a lot, pictures a lot better than my Motorola POS. Like how the base turned out. This is just a black, or just a piece of wood that I got from Hobby Lobby and painted it black. Painted it actually matte black, and then cut my Star Trek TOS Botany Bay out in vinyl. You've seen the base coat that I put on the Botany Bay. I used the nutmeg, and then what I did first, after the paint was cured, I come back in and gave it a quick sand and kind of smooth things out, which created some different shades on the panels, which was a great addition. And hang on, there you go. Had to get rid of my glasses. And after I did that, I come back in with gray, and all the panels, like here, I run a gray down each one of the panels and on the nose, just in certain areas. Like I put gray in here. The main big panels is what I did to kind of give it a weather beaten look, if you will. And then I come back with and I'm trying to think of the color brown. Is a Vallejo reddish brown, and I went kind of trimmed everything out, went all along the edges and stuff on these panels, all along the edges on each one of these. And after I got all that done, I cut up, hang on, all right, sorry about that. Had a phone call in the middle of everything. And I just come back in. I took index cards, and I cut several different size squares out, rectangles and squares and stuff, and you can see the different shapes here. And I used several different color paints. I used 2 different shades of gray, actually 3 different shades of gray, and I used about 3 different shades of browns and a rust color. And I would just went in and I would lay the card up there and airbrush through it, and that would give me the panel look, as you can see. And then back here, and then and on the bottom. All the panels, or all the main panels have paneling on it and stuff. And after I got all of the panels, all the different colored panels on there like I wanted, I just come back in and I started doing more shading with the gray and the brown to kind of blend all this in. It's like a blending coat. Now I'll show you the other side here. Like I say, just a blending coat to go over everything. And this is a like a meteor strike or whatever. I got some there, some here, a couple on the other side, some on the back. And then after I got the blending coat, I come back in and I did a technique called carding, and you can see all these lines here. That is from the carding method on this. And what the carding method is, you take, I'll use this piece of plastic, just like this line here. You just put this up on here, and then you airbrush on this piece, not on the model itself, but you just airbrush along the edge here, and the overspray will create a line and then give it a fade back. If you want to be directional with it, to give it a more realistic look. If it's going that direction, then you want the shading to fade out to the back. And that's all I did was, each one of these, just come in and hit it with the airbrush. And I used the darkest gray. I think it was aggressor gray, I believe, is what I used for that. The nose here, I've got the nose that is actually charcoal. So, and I just went random with the panels. I didn't do anything. I tried not to have any certain pattern to it. Sorry, big old finger in the way. But yeah, I like how it turned out. This is right at 20 inches. Actually, I think it's just shade over 20 inches. 3D printed, and these models are selling for crazy amounts of money, and I was able to 3D print one, add to my collection, and I really love my 3D printer. If you guys are thinking about getting one, I strongly suggest that you do. There's so many free files out there. I didn't pay a dime for the file to print this. So, but that's it. If you guys have any questions about any of the techniques or the paints and stuff that I used here, feel free to ask, and I will just catch you in the next update. Thanks for watching.